There's just something so comforting about that first warm cup of coffee or tea in the morning, isn't there? It's a ritual. Those of us over 60, that very same habit, well, it might be having some effects we didn't intend. Today we're going to gently look into how that morning drink could be affecting your brain health, and more importantly, the really simple things you can do about it. So let me ask you, is your favorite morning drink secretly aging you? I mean, have you ever felt a little dizzy in the morning or maybe a bit of brain fog that you just chalk up to, just getting older? But what if it's not? What if the very reason for that feeling is sitting right there in your favorite mug? All right, so let's get right into it. The very first thing we need to talk about is something I call the dehydration trap. And believe it or not, this trap is set the moment you wake up, even before you've had a single sip of anything at all. See, while we're sleeping, our bodies are actually pretty busy, and through all that work, just by breathing and, perspiring a little, we lose fluid. So every single one of us wakes up in the morning a little bit dehydrated. But after 60, our bodies handle that situation just a little differently. Our kidneys, for example, they process fluids at their own pace now. And our blood vessels, they've worked hard for us for a long time, so they aren't quite as elastic as they once were. Now, this is where that morning cup of coffee or strong tea enters the picture. The caffeine in those drinks is what's known as a diuretic. It's just a fancy word, really. All it means is that it makes your body flush out even more water. So think about it. You were already starting the day with low fluid levels. Pouring a diuretic on top of that, well, that's kind of like trying to fill a bucket that already has a slow leak. It just makes things worse. So here's what happens inside your body. When you're dehydrated, your blood literally becomes a little bit thicker. Now imagine trying to pump something like, say, thick maple syrup through a very old, very delicate garden hose. That's kind of what it's like for your heart to pump that thicker blood. That slow, sluggish circulation means your brain isn't getting that fresh rush of oxygen it needs to wake up properly. And that is often what's behind that foggy feeling or feeling a little off balance in the morning. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. Well, I don't drink my coffee or tea black, and that's fair. But it turns out what you add to your drink, and even how hot you drink it, can bring up a couple of other hidden traps we need to talk about. So let's take a look at what's actually in most of those commercial creamers, the ones with the fancy flavors. A lot of the time, there's no real milk or cream in there at all. Well, instead, you'll find things like hydrogenated oils, artificial flavorings, and a whole lot of liquid sugar. This reminds me of a story about a 71-year-old gentleman named Thomas. He was dealing with aching joints and that frustrating brain fog every morning, and the doctors couldn't quite figure it out. It turns out Thomas didn't need some new pain medication. He just needed to stop using his artificial vanilla creamer. That was it. Once he did, his morning clarity came right back. That daily shock of liquid sugar, especially first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, it sends your system into a bit of a panic. It creates this low-grade chronic inflammation throughout the body. And that inflammation, well, that's often the root cause of those aching joints. And it can even harm the tiny, delicate blood vessels inside our brains. Okay, and now for the last trap. This is one most of us never ever think about, and it's just the temperature. I mean, who doesn't love that first cup to be piping, steaming hot, right? Especially on a chilly morning. But have you ever stopped to wonder what that scalding heat is actually doing inside your body? Deep inside us, there's this really important nerve called the vagus nerve, and it turns out it doesn't like being shocked by extreme heat. When you drink something scalding hot, it can irritate that nerve and trigger a feeling of lightheadedness or even an irregular heartbeat.
So if you've ever felt dizzy right after standing up from the breakfast table, please know that might not just be getting older. It could be a direct physical reaction to the temperature of your drink.
I know that was a lot of information, and it might sound a little bit worrying, but please don't be concerned, because here comes the best part. The good news is that the fixes for all of this, they are so simple, and they are completely in your control. You have the power to change this, and you can start as early as tomorrow morning. So, let's talk about your simple 3-step morning fix. Here we go. 3 easy little changes. Number 1, water first. Before anything else passes your lips, drink 1 full glass of room temperature water. This just helps to gently rehydrate your body after a long night. Number 2, wait just a little while. If you can, try to delay that first cup of coffee or tea for about 90 minutes after you wake up. This lets your body's own natural energy system kick in first. And number 3, if you use creamer, just pick a safe, healthy one. Swapping out that creamer is probably the easiest switch of all. Instead of those commercial creamers, how about trying a splash of unsweetened almond milk or maybe some unsweetened oat milk? If you do fine with dairy, a little bit of whole milk is a wonderful choice. Oh, and here's a great tip. If you like a little flavor, try a pinch of cinnamon. It's delicious, and it actually helps keep your blood sugar steady. How about that? So, as we wrap this up, I really want you to focus on one word: empowerment. This isn't about taking things away from you. It's not about deprivation at all. It's about giving you the power to take active control over your own health and your own vitality. Please hold on to this thought. Getting older is not a process of surrendering things. It's not about giving up. It's a process of refining things, of getting smarter. It's about fine-tuning our habits to support this amazing body and mind that have carried us through life so beautifully. You know, by simply changing what's in your cup tomorrow morning, you are casting a powerful vote. It's a vote for your independence, a vote for your mental clarity, and a vote for your freedom. You have so much more power in this than you might think. So, I'll leave you with this one simple question. You don't have to change everything all at once, but what one small change will you make tomorrow morning? Maybe it's just starting with that glass of water, or perhaps it's trying a new, healthier creamer. Just think about it, because whatever you choose, that one small step is a wonderful, powerful move in the right direction.